What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, D Duel commentary. We got Aruka at the top, 1570 versus Sky at the bottom, 1580. Ratings are extremely comparable, so I mean that's always good. I believe we have just straight Lightsworn, like Lightsworn rulers, which is, I mean, to me, Lightsworn, like you don't really even have to put the word rulers in there. It's just Lightsworn versus what appears to be pretty basic Shaddolls. I think Aruka went first. I'm not 100% sure. To recap, this Raiden's attack has been consistently 1900. That's why Dragon didn't crash into it last turn. He's had Garoth. The problem is he hasn't been able to draw off of it, and he's done it like 4 times. I mean, where I guess he uses Raiden's effect during his main phase, and he doesn't get the draw because he hasn't milled a Lightsworn off Garoth, and then during the end phase it mills. So yada yada yada. We got a set 1. I don't know what that is. It's Lightsworn with Career Bandits. I mean, I guess it's either Necro Gardener or Raikou. I mean, I'm gonna put my money on Raikou. If it's Raikou, either one can be popped really. You see that he's summoning White Dragon. He could Xyz. He could obviously, well, he can't Synchro because he has no tuners. He's already committed his normal summon on Mathematician. I would have to think with that many cards that there's a Shadow Fusion somewhere in there, probably like an L Shadow Fusion. I mean, he just drew one. He's crashing Mathematician, which means he's digging, in my opinion, for some fusions. Because I just see if he gets Construct on board, like she's just gonna beat face. Especially considering, excuse me, I was going to say, like, look how many life points that Sky has. You know what I mean? Okay, so I guess we're going to see he's just crashing into Mathematician. I mean, excuse me, into Raiden. I'm not totally sure why he did that. Did he really want Black Dragon that badly? I mean, what could you have done with Black Dragon that you couldn't have done with White Dragon? Yeah, I'm not totally sure why he did that. Alright, so he's getting rid of the Raiden with Dragon. Those two will just crash. I guess he's trying to... Okay, so he activates Necro Gardener. Fair enough. Main phase 2. And I think Aruka just... he's so... Like, he's so pot committed now to that Raiden and trying to get that draw. Like, if I'm him, I guess technically I wouldn't... Like, I wouldn't want to give up the possibility. I guess your opponent could always Xyz and go like Castell and spin it, but I mean, it is what it is. So he summons Black Dragon. He looks like he's going to Xyz. He is going to go Castell and spin the Raiden. Okay. Yep. Raiden will be spun unless he has Effect Veiler or something like that. And okay, no Veiler. Now, if that is a Raikou face down, then he can obviously get rid of the what's it called? He can obviously get rid of the Castell using Raikou's effect. If it happens to be, what's that guy? Damn, we can't think. If it's Necro Gardener, then it's just, that card is, Alright, so he's activating Career Bandit. And maybe it is Necro Gardener. And not Raikou. Okay, he gets a free Wolf. That's always good, because Wolf can beat over Castell, and then he gets himself a Solar Recharge in the process. Sky doesn't seem too happy with his hand. I mean, he has four cards in hand. I would just think that something has to be like playable. I mean, if you shut off Fusion, you have to give up your... I mean, well, no, you can't shut off Fusion using Castell, because when Dingo isn't out in the TCG... Hell, I don't even think it's out in the OCG yet. I'm trying to think if that broad is out in the OCG yet. I don't know. It's already been announced, so I guess on whatever the OCG version of Dueling Network is, she's out there. Okay, so Equipped Wyvern is summoned. That's going to crash into Garoth. I guess he just really wants to get Dark Arm Dragon. It seems a little extreme, but I mean, if you can drop Dark Arm Dragon, I mean, this turn, like, why wouldn't you? You nuke your opponent's entire field. I don't think any of that shit's gonna trigger. But you can just attack over Garov, like, hypothetically, without even, so you can kill that regardless. But Dark Arms banish, Castell attacks over Garov. It's not like Garov's doing much anyway, because he doesn't have any way of milling. Okay, so he summons Black Dragon. He drops Dark Arm Dragon. I guess he's going to try to go for field nuking. Alright, so face down, Necrogardener. Oh, it's equips Wyvern. Okay. And I guess what it seems like to me is that Aruka has made a concerted effort to not exceed. Like, he's not trying to go into his extra deck. Obviously, he had tons of opportunities to go into his extra deck. Now, he does have a Blaster in his graveyard. 3 in hand. We know that 1 is Solar Recharge. I'm going to make a prediction here. I honestly think, well, I don't know if any of those are artifacts. I mean, they could be. If they were Sanctums, I think that he would have already used them. Okay, so we have, what's it called, played a Wolf. So if he has Lila, obviously you'd want to, unfortunately you'd have to, see, he has to summon the Lila instead of being able to, what's it called? He has to summon the Lila instead of being able to, like, activate it, or instead of being able to discard it with recharge. But my prediction was, if he could have basically resolved the recharge, I think that Sky was going to get OTK'd. That's just my personal opinion. Now, obviously, him using Vanities meant that he forces the Lila on the field, so that changes things. So he ends up losing MST and Vanities. I don't know if he can OTK him now, because he could potentially have a dead Solar Recharge in his hand. Alright, there's Judgment Dragon. Judgment Dragon will nuke the board. Although, okay, so he is going to nuke. Vanity. Dark Arm, everything dies, basically. He gets a White Dragon because Black Dragon dies. I don't know if he has a second dragon in his graveyard. Okay, so Tempest is summoned using Equips Wyvern and... Oh, you know what? Okay, yeah, it's game now. I think it's game because he has the second Judgment Dragon. That is 8,400. Yep. 3,000, 6,000, 8,400. He didn't even need the blaster, but yeah. Once I noticed that he had the what's it called? Once I noticed that he had the blaster in graveyard, it was OTK City. I'm not sure why Sky only took 600. It should be 2,400 that he's taking. Okay, so yeah, that's totally game, Sky. Maybe you didn't do the math right. Okay, so Aruka gets game 1 with Lightsworn, and I didn't expect them to have another Judgment Dragon, but as like the way that Lightsworn works, the cards that Sky had on his field, the back row cards, to me they didn't seem extremely live. Like I was trying to read what they could be. I was like, all right, if they were Shadow Games, he would have already used them. If it was Sanctum, he would have flipped it over so that he could have like killed the Raiden turns ago. I'm like, could he be sitting on some MSTs and like a Super Poly? Like those are options. You know what I mean? Like maybe he would have already burnt the Super Poly like way earlier. I looked at them as they had to be like super dead cards. And I looked at Aruka's setup and I was like, Aruka's got 4 cards in hand and a recharge. If he recharges the Lila, you know, or if he recharges any card in his hand, he'll draw 2, putting him, you know, potentially getting closer to drawing Judgment Dragons. And he'll probably end up milling some dragons. So I was like, you know, he already had 1 Equips Wyvern, so he was going to get a JD. He had Blaster in the graveyard. All he needed was to mill some random dragons, but he ended up having Tempest in his hand. He had Diablos, obviously, in his graveyard, and he ends up pulling the OTK. Because with Lightsworn, you just, like, one Judgment Dragon kind of gets you halfway there, because he blows the field up. Alright, so Sky basically, he goes set 2 back row and set a speller trap. What's it called? He sets 2 back row and he sets a Hedgehog, obviously. Hedgehog gets attacked. It's gonna flip. I wish that Aaron didn't flip the monster. Like that's the one thing I hate about this broad. Like I wish she didn't flip the monster. Like the monster shouldn't get flipped. It should just go straight into the deck. Wow, Aruka actually setting spell and traps. Although, let's be real, I guess those are probably just needlebugs nests or some random shit, you know what I mean? it's not like Sky is, wow, he left MSTs in like a pro. Okay. So 1 Needlebug's Nest, 2 Needlebug's Nest. How predictable is that? He drew 3 Needlebug's Nest. How crazy is that? He says it's fine, I have 3. Alright, so he says anything, like, no, there's absolutely no reason for Sky to preemptively activate Needlebug's Nest. There just really isn't. I wouldn't have flipped it over. I would have seen if my opponent was dumb enough to try and dragon my guy, because I assume he's going to make Construct. Equipped Wyvern's going to trigger, Construct's going to trigger, Beast is going to trigger. But I wanted to see if my opponent would have been dumb enough to send a dragon instead of a Falco. Falco seems like the obvious choice. Falco slash Beast, not Beast, Hedgehog, to get like another monster. But yeah, I wanted, if my opponent was dumb enough to go dragon, then, you know, obviously I have a chainable trap back there. So I think he's gonna go, I don't know. He goes Squamata, the filler. I guess I'd go Falco. I don't know. Alright, so Dark Arm triggers. He's going to draw a card. And he can now trigger the Squamata. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would. I guess I would trigger the what's it called? I mean, if I go Hedgehog, all I'm probably going to do is search a dragon and summon it. Just to try and go beatdown, I guess. If you go Falco, you can set the Falco, which can set up a beast play. Like, I feel like Falco kind of just sets up more plays than going Hedgehog and getting a dragon to my hand. Okay, so he goes Falco. He's going to set it. I guess he's just going to attack. Okay, so he normal summons Dragon. So the Necro Gardener is no longer good. And Aruka says, fuck it. I still don't care about Aaron. I think during the end phase, you'll probably see Needlebug's Nest milled or Needlebug's Nest played so that he can mill. I wonder how much that card costs now. It should be around $1 probably. $230. Wow, expensive. Judgment Dragon, BLS, Kari Bandit. Ooh, nothing good there. Nothing doing. Not only was Charge of the Light Brigade a card you definitely wanted, but milling your Judgment Dragon, your BLS, because with the BLS, that was like an instant out to this broad right here. And this card wouldn't have been able to do pretty much anything about it. So Kari Bandit is played. And wonder if he has any other plays. Like a Kari Bandit and a Regeki would be pretty cool here. You could attack the Falco. Maybe he gets a beast and then Regeki is filled. That'd be nice. Okay, so he's banishing Tempest and Judgment Dragon to summon Blaster. Vanity's Emptiness is played. I think if I'm Aruka, I think I'm okay with that. Because now you can't play Falco. Wait, why didn't he attack the Falco? Because then the Falco wouldn't have been able to activate. Alright, so he gets himself an MST. And I guess he would have taken some battle damage. I think Falco's defense is what, like 600 or something like that? I mean, 1400? Alright, so he gets an MST. He gets a whole bunch of Necro Gardeners. I mean, all Sky can really do, I guess, is just attack. I think I'd probably take the 19 and negate the 28. It looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. And trying to think ideally, what is it that you really want here? Knowing that you have an MST. He says, I'm going to top JD and blow you apart. That would be Vietnam style. If he topped JD, he honestly could just come back. He could totally wreck him if he top decked JD. Cause, if he topped JD, he could just MST this and then Judgment Dragon the field. He would lose his vanities. Interesting that he even set that card. I guess it's a chainable card, like, Sinister Shadow Games or something like that. Like that's the only thing that I can think of. By the way, but if he does play Sinister Shadow Games, I guess to send Beast to the graveyard, then Judgment Dragon would totally be legit in that case. So he just sets one. Well, we thought it was Raikou the last time that he set, so maybe it's Equips Wyvern, I don't know. Sinister Shadow Games is the card. Good guess. He sends Beast to the graveyard and draws one. He should be able to potentially game him, depending on what the face down is, because if you go Falco, you can you can get Beast, and then you can synchro into to Leo. You can get your Construct back. Or not Construct, you can get your Shadow Fusion back. What the hell am I thinking? Mathematician. Okay, that's like icing on the cake. Because now I guess you can go into Armades if they still run that card. Alright, so he dumps a Beast so that he can draw one. And what else can you do? He says you can't. Can't what? How can he not? He says send Squamata first. What did I miss? What did I miss? I thought that when he summoned Mathematician, he just dumped Beast. Oh yeah. You know what? What's it called? I'm lunching. That's a level 5 monster. It has to be level 4 or lower. Yep. Okay, so Squamata has to technically send Beast. Okay, good point. Good catch. Okay, so Armades is out, and gonna figure out what the hell that face down is, one way or another. Doesn't really change the fact that JD still could come out and wreak havoc, but if he doesn't have any life points to use JD's effect, then obviously it's not good. I think that if I was Aruka, if I lost this match, I'd go second. It's not even a question. I'd go second, because if you looked at Sky's first turn, he didn't really do anything. Like he did absolutely nothing impressive during his turn 1, and the vanities like helped him out a lot. Aruka's hand wasn't totally strong, so I feel like I'd probably want to try and see if I can replicate that. Just me having a better hand. He gets Dark Arm Dragon. I don't know how many darks he has in his graveyard. I think he has too many to drop Dark Arm. He's looking at his graveyard. Yeah, I feel like he has too many darks. I mean, because he obviously could exceed and then drop Dark Arm Dragon. But I think that he has more than 3, obviously. If he has 3, then pretty easy. Just exceed and then drop that motherfucker. Alright, so he probably has more than 3. That's why he's not dropping Dark Arm. He's saying anything. Probably not going to activate anything randomly. Battle Fader would be nice, though. Okay, so Armades attacks. Necrogardna. Okay. So he does set Necrogardnas. Game 1, we think that it could be Necrogardna and it's Equips Wyvern. Game 2, we think it's Equips Wyvern and it's Necrogardna. So I don't know what the heck's going on. He's trying to attack for game. Necrogardnas will be used. It'd be crazy if he had El Shaddolls Fusion. That would still, I mean, yeah, like that would basically be the way to win. I think I would make Cowboy. I really do, just so that he couldn't Judgment Dragon me. I don't know if Shaddolls have the room to make Cowboy. He goes for Daigusto Emerald, I guess, to put stuff back in his deck. He wants Beast back in there. He wants Falco back in there. And he wants Black Dragon back in there. Okay. To draw a card. Yeah, I don't know what those cards in hand are. Maybe one is, what's that card? Maybe one is like, Light Ray Diablos or something like that. He sets a card. I mean, Vanities would be huge. You just preemptively flip it over. But no, it's not. It wouldn't be, because he has MST in his hand. He got that off the Curry Bandit, so Vanities does absolutely nothing. Okay, so he drew. If it's not Vanities, it's probably time to scoop it up. I don't think he can OTK. I mean, he can't. He almost certainly can't OTK him with a JD anyway. Like, because I don't think he has the pieces. He hasn't hit any Eclipse Wyverns, so you just don't have the free damage there. He scoops it up. If I was Aruka, I wouldn't even think about it. I would go second automatically. It would be an absolute no-brainer. And if I was Sky, I would take out those MSTs, because you catching your opponent opening up with 3 Needlebug's Nest, like, that's an anomaly. That's not gonna happen again. Like, could you imagine if he would have had those double MSTs and Aruka just wouldn't have had any back row? Like, those would have been so dead. Now Aruka does take first. I think like Lightsworn, before the rule changed, obviously I would have went first. And see, this is why you go second, because look at this shit that you have now. You open with a Garrof, a horrible monster, and 2 back row. And Shaddolls have more cards than you, and they can just Shadow Fusion you, and you lose. Alright, blind MS Ting. Now Aruka can actually chain stuff. So he chains Needlebug's Nest. He gets a Necro Gardener, so at least his Garrof can, I guess, survive 1 attack. Another blind MST. And another chain. And it's another Needlebug's Nest. Okay, they're all gone now. And he gets another Necro Gardener. Dude, blind MS Ting when your opponent obviously only plays 3 traps. Like, really? I don't get that. In this case, I guess it worked out for Aruka to go first, because he would have gotten his Needlebug's Nest MST during his end phase. So it actually worked out, but I'm still not a fan of it. Like, I really don't understand why Sky left in all those MSTs. So Lumina is played. If he resolves his Lumina, this could be huge because of Garrof. Like, I don't even think he'll attack. I don't even think he'll attack the face down monster. He'll just try and get all the mills that he can. He goes for Lila. And Lila is big. Lila's big too, because Lila is just a +1. He is going to attack. I don't know, dude. You run into a Squamata, you're going to be sad. Although something tells me it could be Dragon for some reason. Like, I'm just sensing Dragon. Although now the fact that Sky is hesitant tells me it's a Falco. Okay, it's a Beast. I mean, not Beast, a Hedgehog. That is the one I really, really didn't expect. I was thinking maybe he had Falco with Sinister Shadow Games, but that was the one that I really didn't expect. And honestly, if I'm Sky, I'm feeling really, 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 really good. Because not only do you have a card that's probably dead right now, because, well, it's technically dead right now because you don't have enough monsters to use it with, but even if you draw another Shadow, I'm not that scared. I got Necro Gardeners galore, and I get to use my Lila effect, and hopefully Garrof will get me some, hopefully Garrof will get me at least 1 draw. So Sinister Shadow Games will dump Beast, obviously. He just wants more cards. It's basically an Upstart Goblin. And that should be it from Aruka. He should just go to his end phase and start drawing cards. So Lila's gonna mill. Diablos and JD. A little bit of a whiff right there. But Garrof should try and bail him out with a mill. Garrof mills 2. Ooh, both of his Judgment Dragons gone. And Soul Charge. Lumina's gonna mill. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You like the Necro Gardener. Garrof should try and mill. 1, 2. Okay, he finally hit one. So he hit the Lumina, and he hit a what's it called? A Dragon Ruler. He hit Blaster. So he's going to get a free draw, and he gets that. A second Sinister Shadow Games is played. Falco, right? Okay, so he goes Falco. And now he probably has enough to use that Shadow Fusion. He can flip Falco, get Beast, and then Shadow Fusion the Falco away, although it won't trigger the second time, so not sure how he's going to play this one. I mean, Aruka's not going to go into his extra deck, so he really can't count on that. The only time I think Aruka's going to go into his extra deck is if he can game Sky, like Cowboy or something like that. I mean, Lightsworn damn sure better be playing Cowboy, because they play like a bunch of level 4s, and also they play Soul Charge, so they really should be playing Cowboy. I don't think I would save the Lila if he attacked it. Yeah, the Lila, you've already gotten your effect off. I don't see, with Sky already playing double MST and double Sinister Shadow games, I don't see him using, like, I don't see him setting a bunch of traps, like, you know what I mean? So I don't see you getting much value out of Lumina. Alright, so he's going to target Beast. That one seemed pretty obvious. Okay. Beast gets set. Question is, are you going to try and use the Shadow Fusion? And if so, you're going to probably use Falco and something out of your hand. The Falco's not going to trigger though, so it's like, is it really worth it to get a window when, I mean, how much is Window really going to do here? Like, he can just negate Window's attack. So Mathematician is summoned. I guess Math is going to go send Hedgehog to the graveyard, because, like, what does Hedgehog do, though? I guess it can get you... Okay, it gets him Dragon for... I don't think that advances his game state at all. I'm just being honest. I really don't. I'm just looking at, like, you know, how can he advance his game state? I don't think the Mathematician really did much. Alright, so he gives up the Beast, and he gives up a Dragon. He'll get a draw, and he'll get Winda. Okay, I guess if he gets Arcanite, he does do something significant, because if he gets Arcanite, then he can get rid of Garroth and well, he can pretty much clear the board. All right, yeah, if he gets Arcanite, that's significant. I guess that was his end plan, or his end game was to basically go Arcanite, because yeah, Arcanite can nuke the field. It can get rid of Garroth and Lumina, and then Mathematician can simply attack over the Lila. What's he gonna send with Foolish? Like, okay, so he dumps Equips Wyvern for Dark Arm. And both players are checking the grave. I feel like he might have too many darks. Yeah, I feel like he might have too many darts. I mean, maybe he has 3 exactly. He says, I'm already gaping. Bro, you got 3 Necro Gardeners in your graveyard. What more do you want? I was kind of expecting a, what's it called? I was kind of expecting an Arcanite summon by now. But we're not seeing an Arcanite. I mean, that's literally the only play here that makes sense, is to go into to Arcanite Magician. I guess get your Shadow Fusion back to your hand. It won't be super live though. Alright, so he's gonna Synchro. 7. I mean, I guess he could technically go into Leo, but like, why? That would just be dumb. Alright, so he goes into Arcanite. The one thing about going into Arcanite is, not only do you definitely, like, you definitively have locked yourself out of summoning that Dark Arm now, and Aruka doesn't have to worry about taking damage pretty much for like a couple of turns, because Arcanite's not going to do any damage by herself. Yeah, you get rid of your opponent's field. If the Mathematician attacks, okay, Lila is going to absorb the attack. Oh, he's got BLS. Okay, BLS kind of changes things, because, you know, it can attack twice, but you would obviously just negate the attack. I still believe he has too many darks, because he just sent Winda there, Beast is in there, Falco's in there. As long as he has one more dark. Oh yeah, Dragon's in there because he used that from Shadow Fusion. So, like, you're summoning Arcanite, you're never going to drop that Dark on Dragon. That's just not going to happen. So I guess he's just content attacking with Mathematician. Okay, so that's what he does. He just attacks with Mathematician. I still don't feel great if I'm Sky, because if Aruka doesn't do anything else like this turn, let's say he just passes, you still can't really do much. Your Dark Arm, you're not going to drop it. So I guess he's just going to ram that into BLS. Yeah, I think he's just going to ram that into the BLS. The problem is he'll take a mess of damage. But what I was saying is, if Aruka just didn't do anything this turn, all you'd really have to do is just negate the BLS attack. Like, I'll take the Math attack to the face. I don't care about that. He says, okay, I know you have Fusion and Dark Arm. Like, yeah, your hand, he has Fusion and Dark Arm. Like, those are not live cards at all. You know what I mean? Like, the other card, we don't know what it is, but the Dark Arm, the Fusion, like, those cards are not live. Those are just sitting in his hand dead as fuck. Until he gets another Shadow monster where he could, like, get rid of this card that can't do any damage. You know what I mean? Like, his hand is just super dead. He needs to really top deck a Shaddolls. I still don't think he'll drop Dark Arm this game. He says, it's public knowledge, you have to tell me. I don't know what the third card is. But I know he has a Fusion and a Dark Arm. Man, Arcanite Magician is still $19. That is incredible. If only it would have gotten reprinted and the Legendary Collection 5Ds. That just would have been so nice. I guess it wasn't like a marquee card in Konami's mind or something. I don't know. But they definitely should have reprinted that card. Okay, so I expect the Quips Wyvern to ram into BLS. 1400 is what he'll take. And obviously he'll be able to resolve that Eclipse Wyvern, getting himself a JD. I guess if you're Aruka, you just kind of ride, you just ride this shit out. As long as you don't get gamed, you technically can game your opponent next turn. He summons Tempest in defense mode. I guess he's gonna get his JD to his hand. He removes Light Ray Diablos and JD. And he's gonna summon his JD. Okay. So everybody dies. Huh. See, I thought maybe he might have tried to save that move for next turn and hope that he could game his opponent. Because he still has a Blaster in his graveyard. Like, if he goes JD plus Tempest or plus Blaster next turn, he games him. That's, that's 2,800. 28 plus 3,000, 5,800. But I guess he feels like he has dead cards in hand. So, I think he might be thinking he can just ride it out with JD. I don't know. Honestly, I think I might have just left the Tempest in defense mode and just passed turn. Like, as long as you have one more dragon, I guess, in your graveyard to summon the Tempest with, you just win, and you don't have to commit your Judgment Dragon to the board. Like, your opponent can't do anything with BLS and Arcanite. Like, those cards aren't. I guess he was scared of the fusion, the Shaddolls fusion, basically, like that play. He was scared of him topping a Shaddolls and then, using like the Dark Arm plus the Shaddolls to summon like Winda, or the Dark Arm plus, the Arcanite plus the Shaddolls to summon like Construct. Like, I guess he was scared of that play. Either way, it's gonna be difficult for Sky to come back. So he gives up Dark Arm and oh my god, that's so desperate. He summons Winda using Dark Arm and Dragon, and neither one of those cards do anything. That was such a horrible play. If the Lightsworn player wins, that's going to be the title of this video. It's going to be called "That is Such a Horrible Play." Aruka has to be careful here. I just realized he has 7 cards in deck, so he has to win within 2 turns. He can't afford technically to mill twice with JD. He'll deck out. So keep in mind he does have a Blaster in his graveyard. So he has Blaster and Tempest. Sky would have to, I guess, preemptively. He could chain Vanities. Like, Vanities would be a card that would help him emphatically. Unfortunately, what am I thinking? He can't Vanities. He can't Vanities because you can just use JD's effect. I'm lunching. Alright, so he'll summon Blaster. Oh, okay, it's game. All he has to do is attack. Yeah. BLS attacks over her. BLS will attack again for 3k, and then Judgment attacks directly. Yeah, that was a really desperate play. He had BLS to do maximum damage. to do maximum damage, BLS, that was just, I mean, I think technically that might be an OTK right there with the honest. Like, even without, like, anything else, I think that might technically be an OTK. I'm not going to do the math. Thank you guys for watching as always.